What is up? So we got some people on the already here. Welcome. Yeah, we're just vibing. Giving this a second. Don't mind me. Turn this up a little bit. Yeah. How you guys doing tonight? Oh, we'll back that down a little bit. How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to Agency Success Live. This is our weekly show that we do every single Wednesday right here. But of course, you knew that because you're here. So here's the thing. I want to do this completely different. I have let me get my chat up. I need to get this chat going. I have a confession to make. I've been doing this show for the last few months. I think hopefully you guys have been doing this, and we've been doing it a little bit different format. I've been doing it on Zoom, and something about it. It just hasn't felt right. It felt too scripted. It felt too, what's the word I'm looking for? It just felt too, I don't know, unnatural. You ever just do stuff you just feel like, man, this isn't me. It wasn't me. I wasn't like happy with it. And I think the reason why I haven't been happy with it is because I wasn't fully being myself. I was too scripted. I felt too confined. I didn't feel, I just didn't feel good about it. You know what I want to replicate? Here's what I want to replicate. And real quick, if you're watching, what's up, babe? I want you guys, because I can't see you. So, like, put in the chat here on YouTube. Just let me know, like, who you are, where you're at. Because I want to know who's watching this. Here's what I felt. You know, when you go to a conference and people are always like, the best thing about the conference is me getting to hang out like at the breaks and at the meals, and I get to like talk to people. I get to have like a real conversation. I feel like that's the value, that's the benefit, the most benefit. That's what I want to replicate. That's what I want. So we're gonna do things a little bit different. We're gonna have a little bit of music. I'm gonna make this a little bit more casual, and we're gonna go deeper on some stuff. And I'm just gonna be myself. I'm gonna let my hair down. I'm gonna be me. And if it works, it works. But at least I will go home after this and feel good about it. So here's what I need everybody to do. I need you to tell your friends about this every single Wednesday. The more people we got here, the better. Right? I don't want to beg, but I'm begging. So let's go. Let's make sure we get some folks here every single Wednesday. Tonight, I think we got a really good topic. But before we get into it, what's up, Patrick? Yes. You are the greatest show on earth, my friend. I'm digging what you're doing on YouTube, by the way. Good job on that stuff. I'm liking it. I'm seeing it. Good job. Little bit of housekeeping. Housekeeping item number one. If you guys haven't seen it, you'll start to see it more and more. We're gonna start promoting it a little bit more, but I dropped the first little the little bomb, the little announcement last week about the annual conference, the Agency Success Conference. That's gonna be next year in April, but I dropped the first kind of like promotion for it. Super vague, just talking about like where it's at and all that good stuff. It's gonna be April 20th through the 22nd here in Phoenix at the Sheraton downtown. It's a beautiful resort. It's great. Like real talk. I told them when we were signing this, I said I need at least like 4 or 5 dates, like just on the books, like where I could just come and like staycation here. So they hooked it up, but it's great. It's a great venue. It's large. It's a lot bigger. That's what she said. It's a lot bigger than what I was anticipating, and really stoked about it. But we have Damon John, who dude doesn't need any introduction, even though I have to like legally introduce him a certain way. I got to introduce him like according to the wording that they want. We got Damon John. We got Tiago Parado, which I'm super stoked about. This dude has built a $50 million agency in the last 5 years. 5 years, $50 million in premium. Personal lines, all personal. Like that's legit. So super stoked about that. Are we having glitches? Are we good? I think we're good. So And we got a bunch of other folks. We're bringing in some heavy hitters like all over the place. What's up, Brian? And really excited about that. So mark your calendars. Tickets will go on sale for that in July. So that's gonna be something we're looking forward to. We're gonna make it super reasonable and affordable. Like, we want people to come. We want everybody to come. We want you to bring your team if you feel like it's appropriate. We just want to pack the house. We feel like there's a ton of value in just getting as many agency owners, agents, independent agents together in one room. That's what we want to do. We think that that's going to be fun. Second piece is, if you're watching, make sure hook it up. Like, hook it up with a like this video. I don't care if you're watching it on replay. Like the video, comment down below. Let me know where you're watching. I only want you to do this because it helps the algorithm. Like, real talk. So like that video. Just like it. Smash it. Do what all the YouTubers say. Smash the video. All right. With that being said, I want to get down into this topic. Hopefully the music's not too distracting. I'll turn it down a little bit more. Now, here's the other thing. Again, this is like unscripted to a degree. I need you guys to participate. The more you participate, the better this is. Like, I want you to just feel free to just like shout at me. I'm going to be keeping an eye on the chat. I want you guys to engage, like talk back to me, ask questions, like engage, spam the chat. I need you guys to interact, because otherwise it's just me just sitting here talking to myself, and like I can do that anywhere. So let's make this like valuable. So let's replicate that conference experience where we're sitting at a table, we're sharing ideas, we're passing stuff along. That is going to be what makes this a great weekly show. So, yeah, Michael, I know. Let's start already. All right, we're getting into it. So tonight's topic is, we're going to talk about how to create an inbound marketing strategy for your insurance agency. Inbound marketing is something that I really love. I'm passionate about. It's where I spend the most amount of my time thinking about things. And I don't think that there's a lot of differences between insurance, software, retail, e-commerce. I think there's a lot of similarities when it comes to inbound marketing. And I want to talk about some of those things. So I want to get granular. I want to get kind of nitty gritty. And I want you guys to tell me what you guys are doing in your agency as well, so we can also bring that on. And I'd love to maybe bring somebody on and say like, hey, this is what, like go back and forth a little bit. So first thing you need to know about inbound marketing is you need to create two different pillars. There's two pillars when it comes to inbound marketing. There is demand creation, meaning we are creating demand. We're creating demand where there was no demand before. We're making people aware. We're educating people. We're making people know that there's a problem to be solved, right? We are creating demand. The second pillar is we are capturing demand. So there's different things and tactics that you put inside of those pillars. And we're going to talk about each one. The first one we're going to talk about is, how do we create demand? How do you, as an insurance agent, create more demand for you, the agency, the lines of business that you sell? How do we create more demand from customers? How do we get more people into that pool? I think it starts, number one, is you need to know who you're trying to create demand from. And I know this is always like the first thing that people talk about, and it gets spoken to ad nauseum. You need to know who it is you're creating demand from. A lot of agents, like it gets said a lot, like know who your ideal customers, and people gloss over that. They like just ignore it, and they're like, just show me the tactics. Just show me like the ads to make. And they don't really know who it is they're trying to create demand from. So that's what we need to figure out first. And I'm going to give you 5 things to look at when it comes to creating demand and knowing who the customer needs to be. Number one, I need you to identify a specific person. So if you're writing notes and you've got these things down, write this down. Who's a specific person? And I don't just mean like Joe from around the corner. I mean, get a little broad with it and try to drill down where you can. You need to know what the age range, like who it is you're trying to serve. I'm just giving you some examples. Age range, marital status, occupation, if you're doing commercial, job title, etc. Like figure out like who's the specific person. Put like a little silhouette and say, this is the stuff, the commonalities, the stereotypes that they all fit in. So have the specific person. That's number one. Number two, when you're identifying who it is, like what do they struggle with? What are the struggles that they face every single day, whether it's in their life, whether it's on the job? This is going to help you identify pain points. What are the struggles that they deal with? The third thing is what are their strengths? Like what are they really, really good at? So let's take the example of a commercial client. So I know this is people are always like, tell me how to get more commercial clients. So you're going to identify, hey, I want to deal with the CFO at companies that are 10 employees or more. And I'm throwing things against the wall here apparently, because probably not a lot of 10 employee companies have CFOs, but call it 50 employee companies, the CFO. I want to target that person. This is their education level. This is their salary range. This is all the stuff. We know who the specific person is. The things that they struggle with, they really struggle with X, Y, and Z. Like as it pertains to their job, as it pertains to insurance in their job, not just insurance, but all the areas, like the things that are really big pain points for them in their specific role. Like what sucks? What do they struggle with? And then on the flip side, what are they really good at? Where's the type of client that you want to write? What are they strong in? Like what are they good in? That's right, Mike. Michael Overstreet says if you don't do this, none of this other stuff will make sense. So that's right. So strengths. And the other thing is I think what's important is like, what are they delusional about? We all deal with customers that have, and this is personal lines and commercial lines, that are delusional. You ever just deal with customers and you're like, bro, if that's what you think, you might lick windows for like, that might be a hobby for you, but like, that's not real. You see this all over the place in every line of business on insurance. So what are they delusional about? What do they have misconceptions about? What do they think they know, but they really have no clue on? And then what motivates them? Like what's motivating to them? Yeah, pre-qual the window lickers for real. Like you don't want the window lickers in the audience. But they all have these delusions and they all have these motivations. So their motivations can be personal, they can be professional. There's all kinds of things, and you want to know what these are. So again, specific person, struggles, strengths, delusions, motivations. Have that very clear. And like I tell our team, and I think this is true for any team, like you got your bullseye, like that's in the middle, and we're shooting for that bullseye. But you know what? We'll take all the stuff like around here. We'll take that. We'll take that. That's what we want. But we'll also take a little bit of that, and we might also take a little bit of this. We'll start to get a little bit greedier, a little bit more refined. But we want all of that. So know who they are. And then I think what you need to do is you need to figure out ways that you can gather this information. I think there's a level of assumption. I think there's a level of intuition, experience. You'll say, I've been working with these customers for the last 5 years. I really understand them. That's cool. That's really cool. But I think it's good to not have to just assume all the time. So you want to figure out ways to gather information. And I think there are a couple ways that you can do this. Number one, you need to talk to customers. Yo, you have to talk to customers. It's like a revelation to people. It sounds like really, really easy. Man, if you knew how many times you talk to an agency owner or a business owner and they'll admit, if they're being honest, man, I haven't really spoken to a customer in a long time. That's a problem. That's not good. You need to talk to them. So let's figure out ways to talk to them. You could be doing polls and surveys, asking questions, getting some data points, some quantitative data to form opinions. I think you should be observing social chatter. So look, I'm in a ton of Facebook groups. And you're probably in a ton of them too. I don't participate in a ton of them. But I see the stuff that people say, and half the time I'm like, dear God, how did you live this long? But the other times I'm like, that's really insightful. I need that information. You can do this for industry groups. You can do this for neighborhood groups. You can put your finger on the pulse of your community. What's important to the people in that market? Again, personal lines or commercial lines. Yeah, local community Facebook groups are gold. And when you are looking for content ideas, it's like a little honeypot. So observe social chatter. Look up hashtags. Look up groups. You don't have to participate all the time. Just have your finger on the pulse. Know what it is that's going on. And then here's the thing that I think is also really important. I think this solves a couple problems. And I don't want to get too far off the beaten path here, but try hiring subject matter experts in that field. I talked about it in this video that I launched last week about finding your niche. If you haven't watched that video, go watch that video. But you should hire subject matter experts. You shouldn't just be looking for insurance agents. People will say, I focus on habitational, residential properties or commercial properties. I can't find anybody to hire. I don't know. I can't find any insurance agents. Nobody wants to come work in my agency. Well, have you tried looking at like property managers or people in that field? People who deal with those customers? People who are those customers? Hire subject matter experts in the niche that you focus on. Get them licensed. Train them. Hiring these subject matter experts is going to help you with your messaging. It's going to help with your understanding of pain points. They're going to be able to articulate in a way. It's like having somebody on your team that knows, it's like a secret weapon. One of the things that we look at when we are hiring people that helps a lot of people that we interview is they come from the insurance industry. That's great. We need more of those people. So when they're working for they're developers or product people, instead of us just going and trying to hire those people, which we try to, when we got someone who's like, I used to work at this company, that's valuable because they have subject matter expertise. They understand the market. And I think that's really insightful. And even if you can't bring somebody on your staff, okay, maybe you can't hire a trucker to help you with your transportation niche. I get it. Can you pay one of them $50 and interview them for an hour or two? Can you do that once every 2 months? Could you ask questions, understand the things that they struggle with? Again, finding that specific person. That's what you're trying to do. Talk to me about the things that really motivate you. Why do you do this? Why is this important to you? That's valuable. That's good. I put it on. I know there's a little bit of shame when I admit this, but I got a TikTok. I signed up for TikTok. And I made a TikTok today. I just feel like a D-bag saying that. But I made a TikTok today. And it was goofy. It was dumb. Intentionally. Shout out to my TikTok. Make sure you follow me. But the video is all about people will say, I don't know what kind of content to make. And you might be watching this and you're saying, I don't know what kind of content to make. It is cringe. It's very cringe. But if you don't know what kind of content to make, to me, that tells me it's a leading indicator that you probably don't know your customers as well as you should. The more you know your customers, the easier it becomes to make content because you're going to draw from this well of things that motivate them, things that are challenging them, things that they're good at, things that resonates with them. You're going to figure all this out. And making content becomes a lot less of a challenge. We're going to talk about content here in a moment because content's very broad. It's very basic. So we're going to talk about that, but you got to talk to your customers. The more you know your customers, the more you understand them, the easier it becomes to talk to them about insurance. You'll figure out connection problems that they have and how insurance or what you do, like with insurance, whether it's risk management or things, HR services, whatever, like things that are more advanced in your agency. What doesn't matter what it is. You'll figure out a way to bridge the gap there. Yeah. Chat says that they felt like a major boomer. I felt like my grandpa. This is how my grandpa felt when I was explaining an HDMI cable to him when I was making my TikTok. That's what I felt like. Oh, bueno. So the info that this information that you have, it should inform your entire content strategy. Bottom line. And I don't want you to overthink it, because we have a tendency to overanalyze this stuff. Don't overanalyze your content. Your content on a lot of channels will have less than a 24-hour life cycle. It'll have less than a 24-hour life. In some cases, like if you're posting like on LinkedIn or Twitter, you got like 2 hours. So it gives you a lot of room for mistakes. Who cares? You know how many mistakes I made? I've made a ton of mistakes. Stuff that I posted where I'm like, ooh, I wish I didn't post that or say that. But the more you do it, the better you get. So allow the information you have to develop your strategy for you. Customers are going to tell you everything that you need to know. And the more you talk to them, the better it gets. So there's all kinds of ways to gather this feedback and this research. Okay, let's talk about the content itself, because I don't want to be vague about it. I told you we were going to get granular, we were going to get specific. So let's get specific. And while I get into this, I'd love to know what kind of content you guys are making. I'd like to know who it is that you're trying to attract. I'd like to know like what you guys are doing now. Abe wants to know, is it preferable to have content focused on insurance or content focused on what they actually care about? I think you probably want some mixture of both. You want to kind of not have them totally separate. Oh, wait, can I put this question on there? I wonder if I could put this question on there. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, we can. Oh, baller. Okay. So, yeah, is it preferable to have content focused on insurance or content focused on what they actually care about? I think you need to have a little bit of both. But again, people care about what they care about. That's why when you know the problems that they're facing, it's the things they care about, you figure out how insurance bridges that gap. How does insurance, or how does what you do, solve the problem? And just like in any sales conversation, like people are always going to give you surface level things. It's your job to sort of dive deeper a little bit, reframe that a little bit, and find the bigger problem. So when someone says, I'm trying to think of a good example here. I might be a little bit rusty on this, but when someone says like a very basic level, like this is the stuff I care about, or they'll say things like, I really need insurance that's like cheap. Just go with it. Low hanging fruit. I need cheap insurance. Really matters to me. Okay, well, what's the bigger problem? Like they're trying to solve, like why, like what's important? What does cheaper insurance really do for you? Like you start to understand and you start to dive deeper beyond the crust as to what that means. So I think you need to make content that's important. They're going to focus on content that's important to them. What's in it for me? That's what they care about. You guys want to see how the sausage is made? Talk about how the sausage gets made. I don't do these live streams about Better Agency. Like I don't. You know what I do them on? Stuff that you care about. Like if we're really getting let's pull the veil out. Like let's completely expose this. I want to expose myself to you right now. I don't talk about the software. You're grown-ups. You're grown-ups. I talk about the stuff you care about, though. And that is what... If I did a live stream tonight and I was like, yo, let me talk to you about the 3 campaigns that are crushing it right now in Better Agency. I'd get 2 people to watch, and one of them would probably be working for us. So, yeah, make the stuff that people care about. Let's get to some of these chats here, and then we'll continue on. McBride Agency says we're focused on answering all the questions we get during our quote discovery. That's a great thing, right? So when you think about top of funnel stuff, that's the stuff that that's top of mind for people. It brings people in. And you're answering questions and you're giving people the information that they need to know in order to make a buying decision from you. And that's what you want to do. You want to give them the information that they need to make a decision in your favor. That if they know this thing about you or what you do or your product or service, that they're more likely to say, yes, I'd like to learn more. Now it's your job to then say, okay, let's hit them with the middle of the funnel stuff. And I'm giving like jargon language here. Middle of the funnel stuff. And so that's going to be compare and contrast information. That's going to be case studies. How does this work for other people? Claims, stories, things like that. That's where you want to kind of you want to bring people along there. Michael says, our employees fill out a survey each week. One question is what are the top 3 questions you were asked by clients this week? Yeah. Right. Now we're going to talk about itself about the content, and we're going to get a little bit granular on the platform. So I want to hit on that. But that's exactly right? You're getting feedback from customers. You should be listening to sales calls. Do you guys listen to sales calls? I mean, again, customers will tell you everything that you want to know. So let's talk about the platforms itself. I think people always wonder, what kind of content should I make? Where should I be posting it? All of that stuff. And there's not a right or wrong answer on this. I think there's a lot of variables that go into who you're trying to serve, your geographic location, all that. But I do think that there's some similarities, and so we're going to talk about the platforms a little bit. Let's start with my favorite. My favorite is YouTube. I make all my content for YouTube. I like YouTube. You know why I like YouTube? I like YouTube because everybody likes podcasts. No, but honestly, I love video. That's my thing. It's my jam. So I do video content. I don't have a podcast. I post on other channels, but YouTube is my go-to. And what do I put on YouTube? I put long form. When I say long form, like a 10-minute video. That's a long video. 10 minutes. We got this live stream, which has been going for about 30 minutes. But I like that. In YouTube, when you're thinking about content to make on YouTube, think about infotainment. Why do you go on YouTube? Other than to watch this live stream, which you should be doing every single Wednesday. But you go on YouTube to subscribe to the channel and like the video. But you go on YouTube because you want to be educated about something or you want to be entertained with something. You want to watch something and kind of it's like a TV show to you. So that's what YouTube should be about. And I think YouTube is a great platform, again, because your competition is likely not doing it. And there are all little tactics and things to do, hacks to do on the platform itself. But the best thing you can do is make content. And it doesn't have to be all this. I do this. I tell people I do this because I don't drink and I don't golf. So I got to waste my money on something. But YouTube is a great platform to be posting things. And so again, you take those questions, in Michael's case, take those questions that people are asking you, and you make a video content about it. And if you can hire a little freelancer on Fiverr or the internet to edit your videos for you, or some VA in the Philippines, that's cool. That's great. Do that stuff. But honestly, just talking to the camera, just to get started, that works too. Just being consistent about it. And the more you do it, the better you get. Straight, real talk. I hope you if you guys ever watch the video content that we make on this channel, the videos are about 10 minutes long. But when I edit the video, I'm editing an hour-long video because of all my mistakes. People will go, Nick, you're so good on video. No, I'm not really. I make a ton of mistakes. You just don't see them because I edit them out. All right, we got another question here, and we'll get to that before we hit the next platform. Jonathan Lugo, what's up, Jonathan? How do you increase engagement among your target market initially? I have about 24 insurance agents. I always liking my posts for real estate brokers who I'm targeting. Well, how are you getting the information into their hands? Jonathan, I think that matters. How are you making sure? And Abe, stop liking Jonathan's stuff, will you? That'll cut down. So instead of 24, you got 23. But how do you get the content in their hands? I think is really what's important. Do you have an email list of these people? And we're going to talk about audience segmentation. I don't want to derail this too much, but we're going to talk about audience segmentation and getting the content into the right people's hands. I think that's important. I think there's other little things depending on the platform you do. So like, I think I see you post a lot, Jonathan, like on LinkedIn. So I think tagging people, I think, if you got it in the beginning, I think engaging on their content, befriending them a little bit, which I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. Yeah. So you've got to put the content in their hands. Like the content's no good unless people always talk about content being king, and distribution is where it's at. Like you can have the worst content in the world, but if you got a good distribution strategy, that's what matters. All right. Let me hide this. Let's get back to it. So we talked about platforms. YouTube, it's good for long form content, infotainment. I think podcasts can be good, like local podcast, industry podcasts. I choose not to do a podcast. Like I'm not saying I'm never going to do a podcast, but I just don't do them because everybody else does one. So, but you might not have the same problem. Like there's probably nobody else in your community, in your niche doing a podcast. Do a podcast. Low barrier to entry, easy, conversational. A lot of times you can rely on other guests to just like talk. Like there's a lot less prep work. It's a lot easier to make a podcast than it is to make, a video. So like I fully admit that. I think LinkedIn long form content is good. And if you think about the people who are on LinkedIn, they want helpful, valuable content. So you have to, again, with the insights that you get from customers, create helpful content that people like. So Jonathan, like when you're posting on LinkedIn, you need to be doing it consistently, but you also need to use the customer insights that you're getting. And a lot of it could be the caption that you put in LinkedIn, like how are you getting their attention? Like what are the call outs that you're doing? So you like, okay, if I understand this right, real estate brokers, right? So what are the problems that real estate brokers have? Headline that grabs their attention. People will call it clickbait. I call it being click worthy. Something that is affinity based, like it connects with them. There's an affinity to it, usually by calling out their job title or something that is a very known problem to them. It's a great way of pulling that audience in. So, with LinkedIn, that's a great platform to do. I think LinkedIn is incredibly underutilized. Super underutilized, especially if you're doing B2B. If you're doing commercial insurance and you're not on LinkedIn every single day, if you spend more time on Facebook than you do on LinkedIn, there's a problem. Well, maybe. Like, I take that back. Let me walk that back. Because you could be doing Facebook well too. But LinkedIn is such a valuable platform for commercial insurance. I'm really surprised. Like with every online course that you see for Facebook ads, I'm surprised we don't see double that for LinkedIn ads. Because the money that's in commercial insurance, you would think there'd be every LinkedIn guru on the planet talking about how to generate LinkedIn leads for commercial insurance. I'm looking at the chat. That's why there's some pausing. Okay, so Facebook. Make sure when you're posting on Facebook, you're posting from a personal profile, your personal profile. And here's the objection we always get. I don't want people to know I'm selling them, so I don't want to be salesy on my social media. Okay, that's great. Well, you have not because you asked not. So you keep not being salesy and keep not getting the business that you want. You need to go to these platforms and you need to befriend people. So Jonathan, on LinkedIn, you need to go do a search for every real estate broker on LinkedIn, and you need to connect with them. You don't need to spam them. Just connect with them. You don't need to DM them. Connect with them, and then start making consistent content for that niche. Your connections will see it over time. Same thing on Facebook. You need to be befriending the people that you want to do business with, centers of influence, referral partners, and then you need to be educating your audience on things. Do you think I like to post a ton about Better Agency on my Facebook wall? I don't. The only reason I do is because a ton of insurance agents want to be my friends on Facebook. I don't ask them to be my friends. A lot of people just want to be my friends. So, okay, buyer beware. You're going to get some better agency stuff. Yeah. Kyle says I make videos about policy endorsements on LinkedIn sometimes. Okay, that's great. But I think you got to connect it to the bigger problem. It's a sale. It's no different than sales. What's the reframe? How are we reframing this to solve a problem for them? And I know we were talking a little bit before, like I jumped on this live stream, Kyle. I think you're the same Kyle. Buying cycles are different. Like people are going to maybe buy the policy that you're trying to sell them. Like they want to buy it like once every 10 years in some cases. So the longer buying cycle, you're not selling auto insurance where people will switch that 3 times in a year. So it takes a level of consistency and showing up on a regular basis. So go make connections with your possible clients and your centers of influence. All right, we're talking about how to create demand creation. The other thing you need to do is you need to segment your audience. Listen, if you got a CRM or an AMS that allows you to tag people, you need to be segmenting them. You need to know who your A clients are. You need to know who your B clients are. Right? You need to create a pipeline of customers, prospects, right? A funnel, a pipeline, however you want to call it. And you need to figure out how to get people through the next cycle. So if you got a bunch of people who are just interested, like you need to create a goal or a strategy. How do I get the interested people? Like what can I do specifically to those people to get them from interested to like consideration? Hey, we're not just interested in what you have to say or sell, but now we're going to start to consider this. There's a lot of things you can do. Case studies. You're interested in what we sell or what we do? You're interested in me as a person? Yo, I'm going to send you this case study. Compare and contrast. You versus somebody else. Bring people through. You're creating demand amongst your customers. Once they know that there's a problem, if the problem is big enough, if you're solving a big enough problem, just like anybody else, they're going to look to solve the problem. If they're dragging their feet, then we have to question whether or not we're really solving a big problem. Big problems, if it hurts enough, people are seeking relief. So segment your audience, figure out how to get them from point A to point B, from point B to point C, so on and so forth. Tag and segment your customers from the customers that are like the good customers. The customers that are always engaging with stuff, the customers that are referring you customers, the customers that are centers of influence for you, the customers that always never give you any hassle, never any problem. And again, get customer insights from those customers so that you can bring your B-level customers back to that tier. And how you can go find more A-level customers. Yeah. Let me show this here real quick. Michael says, if you make the content correctly, it's not salesy. It's educational and helpful. Few people will be upset by that. Most will appreciate it. That's correct, right? But again, we're talking also, think about it like this. I think the problem is a lot of agents go, hey, I made this piece of content. Where are the leads at? Yeah, where are the leads at? They're looking around and they're like, hey, I made this 3 hours ago. Where are my leads at? It doesn't work that way. Maybe if you sold like, I don't know, free vacation rentals in the Bahamas, maybe that's what people jump at. But that's not what you're selling. And that's okay. You're selling defense. You're selling financial protection. You're selling all that stuff. It's a little bit different. All right. So we talked about creating demand. Before I get into capture demand, I want to know what specific questions you have about content, education, creating demand, how to create demand. How do I get people what should I be posting? How should I be posting? All that stuff. Like before we get into capturing demand, we've created it. Now, how do we harness it? How do we do the Ghostbuster thing where we put our proton packs on it and bring it in? What questions do you have about creating demand? Here's another thing I'll say about demand creation is paid social is what you got to be doing a lot more of. Again, there's this misalignment of hey, I'm running these Facebook ads, or I'm running these LinkedIn ads, or I'm running these YouTube ads, and I want like all these leads to come in. And you'll have spurts of that. But if you look at it like that, instead of creating demand, educating, making people aware of a problem that needs fixing, then you're going to be disappointed. So let's talk a little bit about that before we talk about, again, how to capture it. I think there's a few channels that are great for creating demand. I think Facebook ads are great for creating demand. I think LinkedIn ads for B2B. Go into LinkedIn targeting. You can watch a YouTube video on this. Go into LinkedIn targeting. Find the people either at the company you want to target or the industry you want to target. I want to target IT, and I want to target CEOs, whatever the case is, healthcare, this, that, or the other, and run ads to them about how you solve a particular problem that that they face. You're creating demand. YouTube ads. Make a 2-minute video, a 3-minute video of you and your agency. It's just a digital billboard. It's just you spending $5 a day to blast it out to this zip code every day. Problems that you solve. Change up the video or create a new video and add another $5 a day budget to it and do it every month. Create demand, create awareness. So, Kyle, this is a good question here, or a good statement. I want to steal accounts from the brokers that only come around once a year at the renewal asking for money. Great. But why is that their problem? Like, why is that a problem for agents or for the customer? You got to dig a little bit deeper. And so that's what you want to do. But do the customers know that that's a problem? Do they think that's just the way it should be? The only time I talk to my CPA, I don't know nothing about taxes other than I got to pay him and then it's theft. I only talk to my CPA like once a year, twice a year. Am I supposed to be talking to him in July? I don't know. Should I? Like, is that a problem that I don't? So you need to educate people on why it's a problem and what they're missing out on and what's at risk by not being proactive. That's the content you need to make, right? So that's the desire. Dig a little bit deeper and start to put out content and figure out, and you got to test with this because it may not be a problem for your customers. They might say, look, I don't want to talk to my insurance agent. I only want to talk to him when I need to pay the bill. I'm speculating, but that could be something that they come back and say. So identify that as being a problem, if it is a problem, and then provide education as to why or how they can solve that problem. Paid social for awareness or lead gen? I think it becomes both. I think when I talk about the problems with it being lead gen is when people just think about lead gen. And they'll create a campaign and they'll say, okay, it's been up for 3 hours, where are my leads at? It's a mindset shift as much as anything. Paid social for both. When you're building awareness, I think lead gen is a byproduct of that. Okay. Let's talk about how to capture demand. Is that good? Does that make sense? I'm specifically asking if that makes sense. All right, so we talked about how to create it. Let's talk about how to capture it. What do you need to be doing to capture demand? I think there's demand channels, and there's 3 areas that you need to be capturing demand. And of course there's more, but I'm gonna hit on 3 big ones. First one is you need to be in demand channels. And by demand channels, Google search is a demand channel. You need to be running Google search ads for your company and for the problem. So you need to have what's called branded search, which is people are looking for your company specifically. They go to Google, they type in your company. You want to make sure your result is first. Branded search. So this could be along the lines of, I'm going to use Heritage as an example. Heritage advises should be running branded search ads. Let me walk it back. Because they're so brand new, maybe not as much. But you want to make sure that when people are searching for you, that you come up, because here's the thing. You kind of have to, because everybody else is going to run ads on. If you're big enough, people are going to run ads on your name. So it's defense. But also, you want to create demand channels when people are looking to solve that problem. So it could be, and I know we're going to have to finesse this a little bit because insurance is unique, but it could be insurance or a particular line of business insurance. And so when you have that line, when you're capturing demand, people are going and they're saying, I need insurance for X, workers' comp for chiropractors, insurance for my wine collection. I don't know why I always use that example. I do. Classic car insurance, right? People have already acknowledged that there's a demand, and now you need to capture it. You need to show up at those areas. Google search, paid search is where you need to be. And now people will say, well, Nick, what about SEO? What about writing blogs? What about creating content on my website? Hear this entire sentence before you throw spears at me. I would take paid search all day long over SEO for insurance. But you should be doing SEO too. By SEO, I mean creating content. But the emphasis, like if you had to say, hey, Nick, gun to the head, pick an example, like pick one thing you're going to do. What are you going to bet on? It's paid search. So I'm doing ads for very specific things, long tail keywords or broad, a little bit broad stuff. I'm trying to capture the demand that people are going to Google and searching for. So if you don't know these things exist, you can use any sort of SEO tool like SEMrush or anything like that, and you can figure out what people are searching for. If you've done your website correctly, you can go into your website analytics. It's called Search Console, and you can see what people are searching for. How do they get to your website? What do people search for to get to your website? Take those keywords, run ads on them. Sorry, I'm pausing here because I'm looking at the chat here. All good stuff on the chat. Keep it coming. So capture demand by paid search. Also create content because you want to have content because people might be searching for it. They're going to land on that. And it will also inform what you want to run ads on. You might create really good content and you might say, you know what? I'm not going to wait 10 years for the search engines to pick this up and to start showing it and hopefully it ranks. I'm just going to make really good content right now. And I'm going to run ads to this page. So for an agency, I'll use Kyle as an example. Kyle says that he competes with top 100 brokers or agents. I would maybe take the top 3 or 4 or whatever and create some comparison pages, content, you versus them. You can do it with your carriers too. Create your own content and run ads to it. So you want less competitive things to run ads on? Instead of doing business insurance, car insurance, like the most expensive things, take your carriers and run ads on them. Now, you got to be a little slick. I did this once and carriers got mad at me and I just said, no, tough. But you can do that as well. And so you're writing good content. You're not just waiting for it to rank. Here's the other thing. Demand channel, like how to capture demand. You need a good website. You need a legitimate website. I go to some websites and I'm like, dear Lord, like there was no investment made into this. So what is a good website? It's not just how it looks. Like you want something that looks good, but a good website is very clear messaging. It's not like you need to assume that people know nothing about insurance because they don't. And you need to just hit them with a very clear feature, benefit, pain, solution. Like this is exactly what we do. This is who we are. And people will sometimes push back on that, and they'll want to sometimes put in a little bit jargon, or they'll want to think there's something clever that's unique to them. Nobody cares. Like the best copy for websites, like I can show it to my 8-year-old. He would know what that means. So your website needs to be built in a way where it has very clear messaging, very simple, singular call to actions. One button that does one thing. It's not it's not a price indication. It's not a proposal. It's not language that the average person doesn't use. See price. Get quote. Like And people will say it's so off-putting. It doesn't matter. Like, people understand it. I see like insurance agents and they'll have like on their website, receive your complimentary risk indication here. What? What? You gotta delete that. Get quote. See price. Get price. Like caveman. Like me, Tarzan, you, Jane. That's how people respond. Especially people who aren't doing this every single day. They're not looking at insurance policies or language, or they're not in the community. They don't know what this means. You need to capture demand with a solid website, clear messaging, simple call to action, simplicity. Focus on that above all other things. I used to put a lot of videos on my agency website, and I used to also like ask for reviews for every single channel. Like, give me a Facebook review, a Google review, a Yelp review. And the moment I went down to one thing, like I took away all that and I just said like Google reviews, like it skyrocketed because I took away the options. I made it less frictionless, less confusing to people. That's what you need to do on your website. The third thing you need to do to capture demand is you do need to show up, I think, and I'm going to say this may not apply to every single person, but you need to be showing up on Google My Business, Google Places. You need to be showing up when you do a search for insurance or your agency specifically, or you as a person. It needs to have that bar on the Google that shows your reviews, shows pictures, it shows information. It ranks you higher than everybody else on the map pack. And people say, how do I get to the top of the map pack? Run ads. Run some freaking ads. I had this. Run ads in the map. Show up. I don't care if you get 3 reviews or 300 reviews. You need to be first in everything. The old joke goes, where do you hide a dead body? You hide it on the second page of Google. That's where you hide it. Because nobody goes there. Yeah. You also need to post all of your content to Google My Business. Google My Business is a content platform. You can add pictures. You can add videos. You know what's good? Take your Google reviews that you're getting, screenshot them, and after you put them on Facebook, after you put them on LinkedIn, and after you put them in case studies and send them to your customers, put them in your Google My Business. Upload it as a photo to there too. And do that every week. Okay, I don't pretend to be like a major like SEO whiz. I'm definitely not. So I'm not going to pretend to be one. But like, you want to feed the platforms this information. What if I politely ask my competitors to give me some of their accounts? Is this a good strategy? What? What if I politely ask my competitors to give me some of their accounts? Yeah. I mean, I don't know that they're going to give you any of their accounts. Like, think about the accounts you might be getting. If somebody came to me and said, hey, can I have some of your business? I'd say, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give you all the time wasters, tire kickers, pain in the butt customers that I got. Here you go. BOR these suckers. They're yours. What if you have a program brand inside of your agency? Firm secured program at Veritas Insurance. Do I create separate channels? Google My Business. Yes and no. So I'll give you an example of something I'm going to be doing here. And I give it this example because it's topical, it's relevant, but also I think it applies everywhere. I'm taking all the testimonials off of the Better Agency YouTube channel. Well, I should say I'm not going to add any testimonials to our Better Agency YouTube channel. We have like 50 video testimonials. I'm not going to add any more to I'm creating a separate channel for that. Better Agency Reviews. And it's going to be its own channel. I'm not going to promote it. I'm not going to do any of that. But I'm going to have a separate channel. Because I want people to come to my channel, and I want them to see this stuff. I want them to see the videos that we make twice a week or once a week. We've been hitting like twice a week, which has been solid. We got a video dropping tomorrow. That's actually in line with a lot of what we're talking about here. It's solid. It's the 5 things that like the best agents are doing. Like the best agents in the country, what they're doing to generate leads. And so I want people to see that content. I don't want to confuse them. So I'm going to be posting testimonials to another channel. Things that aren't relevant but are better agency specific, I'll be putting them on a different channel. So I think as you think about it for your line of business or the special programs that you have, I think you can. Like, what is the goal? What's the goal? Like my other channel, I don't have a goal of building that like to a large amount of subscribers. I'm doing it mainly for YouTube search. That's what I'm doing that for. And so, I think you have to evaluate what your goals are for that other channel. And you also have to make sure you can like handle it all. Can you juggle all that stuff? Does that make sense? I think it sort of depends. For your LinkedIn stuff, I'd be posting for my personal stuff. I think you, Jonathan, need to be just posting for your personal stuff. And you can be hitting on certain topics or things attracting different customers. Google My Business, I don't think you can. I think it's going to be one anyways. So I think for some things you keep them separate. I think for some things you keep them the same. Let me add that. Let's see if I missed anything. I do that program all day. Only the others in the agency do live home auto, so I have time. There you go. I think it doesn't hurt. I think you got to ask yourself, is the juice worth the squeeze? If you got the time to do it, by all means, go do it. So, what did we miss here? It's been a good show. Been going for a solid. Any resources you recommend to learn more about inbound, demand gen, demand capture? I listen to a lot of podcasts. I read a lot of books. And I think more than anything, I'd say half my learning, if not more, is me messing up myself. Seeing where we spend money, where it's wasted. Doing that, or seeing content we make that doesn't hit that I think is going to hit. Iterating on stuff. I think there's a lot of. I think it's good to like take in all that stuff. And I listen to podcasts, I read books, and I listen to smart people and all that good stuff. And I get a little like fringe ideas here and there. But more than anything, it's trying to have a really good understanding of the foundation, of the fundamentals, of knowing who the customers are, knowing where they're hanging out, knowing the problems that they have, and then trying to meet them there. And then we can iterate from that. That's the most important thing. It's not rocket science. What else we got? Baby making music. Yeah. I mean, I want to make sure like it's very important. I want to make sure that if you guys have specific examples, I want to make sure that we're addressing them. We're answering those. Because I can sit here and I can talk about a lot of specifics, but they might not be specifics to you. So if you have specific things that you're like, hey, this is where I'm struggling, or this is where I think I'm missing the mark, like what can I do to create more demand here? I want to make sure we answer those questions. Nothing? All right. Hey, I appreciate everybody watching this. If you watch us on the replay, if you watch us live, did you hit like on this? Well, we got 8 likes on the video. Yeah, we got to get some more likes on this video. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Make sure you guys like the video. Comment down below if you're watching this on replay. Let me know. Again, same thing applies to you. Like, where are you guys struggling? Where do you guys need help? Where can we help? After you said that, cool. All right, guys. Well, I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Make sure you guys watch the video tomorrow. It's fire. Take my shirt off. 2 likes. You wish, you pervert. You stinking pervert, Michael Overstreet. Gosh, what am I gonna do with you? All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow.